Alright, so I'm going to attempt to review viewfinder is hard to look at things. Mugenbine Dig Kong. I think it's Mugen, not Mugen, but maybe I just like it better. All the Mugenbine figures, at least from this part of the line, come with a little Mugenoid. This is a Mugenoid, and they're all the same. They're all the same mold, with a different head, and they have different colors. And the theme for the first part of the line is letters, the alphabet. And that right, it's the theme is the alphabet. How wonderful! And this is D for Dig Kong, and this is supposed to be a D on the side of his head. All the Mugenoids fold up in various ways. It's the typical Mugenoid cube, and then they fold up in different ways. All these little pegs you see here, like some of them actually can move, and then basically you just attach stuff to them. And these pegs actually move as well. The articulation on these little figures is actually not really bad for what they do. The legs even move out at the hip. The arms, sadly, don't have any outward shoulder articulation. Because of the way they fold up, they move in like that. And I wish it was backwards so they could... I mean, if you imagine he was facing the other way, then you could at least get articulation like that. But it's not. But really, not bad. And they're actually pretty sturdy little figures. Now, Dig Kong has two modes. I'll show you the dig mode first. And for that, you just wad this little guy up in this typical fashion. And then we have parts. And the parts just sort of get put together in various ways so that your final product kind of looks like something. So we've got a little platform here. And we just attach him to the platform. And then there we go, you attach a little shovel to it. And I actually think it's not a bad shovel mode. It looks like the Mugenoid, this guy right here, sitting on a tread platform with a shovel thing attached to it. But you know, for what it is, it's really not bad. Mugenoid can rotate on the platform. It kind of doesn't look so good that way. He actually has wheels, can kind of roll. This scoop, this is kind of upsetting because this looks like a joint here, but it's not really a joint. It doesn't actually move there. It moves here a little bit, and it moves here. If this were able to move forward, you get a lot more scooping action. Because of these joints, though, that it's actually pegged to, you can bend it down, which actually moves the whole cockpit, but it doesn't... if it just had this one more joint here, it would have a lot better stuff you could do with it. It's green, which I've never seen one quite this color, but, you know, whatever. As far as transforming robotic, what do you call this, it's not a steam shovel, it has a different bucket. Anyway, as far as transforming robotic construction vehicles go, it's not really bad, and it would probably look good with a lot of others. Now, I showed you his dig mode. Remember, his name is Dig Kong. So now I'm going to show you the Kong mode. Yeah, this actually still stays folded up. And here, one thing I like about this figure is instead of just balling up, most a lot of Mugenbines ball up and don't use any of their own. They just basically a big connector. This guy is actually going to use his own legs in this mode. And you just start pegging stuff to him. So there we've got a pretty good body, and this is actually my favorite part. This is why I got him. This shovel, if you haven't seen it before, it's pretty impressive. But once you see it, you can't really unsee it because it's actually a gorilla head. And I think a pretty cool one, but like I said, once you've seen it, now this really looks like a gorilla head, which maybe if they didn't do the nose or maybe the eyes were a visor, it wouldn't look quite so much. But Anyway, for this mode, I think it's actually a really cool looking head. And I think this figure is just a really cool looking gorilla. A green gorilla, yes. I don't know of many green gorillas. They could have made it brown or black and it worked just as good for the vehicle mode. But it's green. It's got this interesting bucket jaw that can't really... you can kind of pull it off, but you're not going to get any reasonable mouth opening on it. The articulation on the animal mode is pretty good. These fold out. You can rotate it, but it's kind of restricted how you can rotate it, but pretty good. Legs move back here. And then actually these hands open. It opens at the thumb and not at the fingers, which is kind of disappointing, but this is actually really good articulation for a Mugenbine beast. And I think he's actually pretty cool looking. And then just look at some of these parts individually for just a minute. Put the Mugenbine to the side. This part here is just a connector. As far as combining with other Mugenbine sets, it's not anything cool. These treads are actually pretty nice treads. They have a peg here which isn't used in Dig Kong's mode. Maybe it's used officially for something else, but you could use it for whatever. But actually good treads. There's a hole back there, there's holes there. These are actually pretty good parts. I've seen these parts used in a lot of combinations. I mean, they're like some of the best hands that the Mugenbine set has. So they're actually pretty good, I think. And then this part, although I love it, it really can't be much more than a shovel or a Dig Kong head. Oh, what else can you use this for? It's just a green gorilla head or a shovel scoop, and not really a great one at that. So his parts really aren't the most wonderful thing. He could do a pretty good Scorpion impression, or a pretty good Energon Scorponok impression, which I'll show you in just a second. Sorry, I ended up doing a lot of this off camera because it's kind of hard to pay attention to the camera and what you're doing at the same time. So you can actually do a lot of cool stuff, but I think he's pretty cool, but he has less parts than a lot of the others, and oops. And because of this, he's actually a little more limited, and especially with a part like this that's, I mean, once you see that looks like a gorilla head, and there's only really two things you can do with it. So I think it's better than some of the other reviews have said about him, but and actually I was really excited about this guy. I thought he was one of my favorites looking at the pictures, but then getting him, some of the ones I didn't like just because they had more parts and were you could do more things with them. I actually like them better. But I think he's pretty cool. So I like him. Get him.